All right, welcome into Prize Picks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick. And at 5 Reasons Sports, I'm here with David Eversole. You can follow him at David W. Eversole. We're going to go through Super Bowl week. We're going to do this a little bit differently here, and I'll get to how we're going to do it in a second. But the first thing you need to do is write down this code. It's 5. It's not the number 5. It's spelling it out, F-I-V-E, F-I-V-E for 5. You enter that when you make your initial deposit, and if you do that, they will double your money up to $100. In other words, you put down 20, they'll give you 20, put down 100, they'll give you 100. I would recommend putting down as much as you're planning to spend at the beginning, because once you do it after that, you don't get the bonus. So do it on your first try. Enter the code 5, put down as much as you want to spend. You play 2, 3, 4, 5 players together. Of course, if you're an NBA guy, we do a lot of that here, or an NHL guy, we pair this stuff with that, and you can do the same thing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 together. So go to prizepicks.com, download it from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Today, we're just going to focus on the quarterback. The lines on this are already up. I'm using my finger there to call it up. And we're going to go through all of the categories that Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are in. No Chad Henne props or Minshew. We're just going to do Hurts and Mahomes, assuming that they're going to get through the game. Of course, they're the two leading candidates for MVP as well. And David, there's a really easy prop to play, but you can only play it up to $25. So that prop, and I would recommend, if you have something else that you like here as we go forward to the next week, that you at least use this prop. And it's basically they're giving you a free square. It's Patrick Mahomes for half a passing yard. We are not going to debate that one. We are simply going to say use that with something else. Okay. Now, the one thing you also can't do is you can't play, say, Mahomes's that passing prop and then another Mahomes prop. So you're going to have to find something else on the board. But if you got $25 that you want to play, put it all on that with Mahomes and something else that you like. But we're going to actually debate Mahomes' actual number, because for those who are going to play more than $25 or play something else, they should know that. So let's go over it. Mahomes at 285.5. We're just going to do up downs today. Like it, not like it.
It's hard to bet against Mahomes, honestly, and that number's been going up. I think it started when they first put the board out at about 264.5. So momentum is on his side in terms of this number. So I think I'm going to stay away from it, but I'm going to lean under, honestly.
I'm going to go over on it. I think that we are in a coronation stage for Patrick Mahomes. Got away from him last year. He's gotten to the big game. There's going to be a lot of conversation about him and Hurts and style of quarterback and all that. I think Kansas City is going to need to throw the ball in this game. Mahomes now has 2 weeks to heal the ankle. He should be able to drive off it better than he did before. I think this is a 300 passing day for him. I don't like the number as much at 285.5 as I did at 264.5, which is why everybody should keep checking the board here. But I would play it over. I would say on a scale of, we could do this too, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would I be to actually include this? I would say a 6. It's not a 10 for me, but it would be a 6. All right, Jalen Hurts. Let's look at his number, 238.5 passing yards. Over, under, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you play it?
You know, it's funny. If you look at his track record for the last 5, he's been way under that. But I think Philadelphia is going to have to throw the ball a lot in this game. I think Kansas City is going to try to take Miles Sanders away and make Jalen Hurts beat them. He's been good, but I think he's got to prove himself on this big stage. So I actually like him over 238.5. I think that's a favorable number, especially if he can get Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown involved early. And often, I think those guys need volume in order to produce. If Kansas City limits the big plays, he might have to complete 25-plus passes in this game for them to win. So I'm going to take Hurts over the 238.5.
How likely on a scale of 1 to 10 that you would play that?
That I would play it a 2.
Okay, so not a likelihood. All right, so I'm going to say,
I'm scared of the some of the QB props in terms of the passing yards. I might look at some other ones though.
All right, yeah, I'm only a 2 or 3 on this, and I would go under. But I don't feel real comfortable with it. I think I understand what you're saying about, may need to throw the ball a little bit more, kind of stay up with Mahomes here. I do think pass rush with Kansas City, which is pretty good, is going to force him to run the ball a little bit more. I'm looking more at the run props with him. I would look more at the completion prop with him. I'm not as comfortable with the passing yard prop with him. And then to that end, you can play these two guys together, and it's actually interesting. 527.5. So just to do the math off the top of our heads, it's actually, I guess, about 4 yards, 4.5 yards, 3.5 yards over what you would do if you had played them separately. Would you? I wouldn't touch this number at all, right? I mean, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. I think those numbers are a little bit inflated here. Like you said, I think there's better value on the quarterbacks than some of the other props as we go through the board.
All right, let's go to the next set of categories here so people can get a sense of what these categories are. Let's take a look at the rushing yards for Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. 46.5 for Jalen Hurts. Been over 2 of the last 5. If you can see that, he's pretty close on a couple of the others. He tends to, he got in that 30 range here a couple times. Patrick Mahomes, 18.5. Bad ankle, but again, 2 weeks to heal it. Been over that only one time. He had 29 rushing yards. Which would you be more likely to play, and how would you play it?
Well, believe it or not, I probably like the Mahomes number actually a little bit better. Like you said, the ankle's healthy. Both these teams are elite pass rushing teams. They both get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be obviously a lot more design runs than Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to be more improvisational and kind of just tucking it down a couple times. But I think Mahomes could scramble and get 10, 12 yards on one carry and then maybe a couple more throughout the game. But I think on a near healthy ankle, Mahomes could get over that 18 and a half yards. And I'd probably say about a 5 would be my possibility of playing that.
I'm going to play Hurts over. The Mahomes. I agree with you that he's likely goes over Mahomes, and it is 2 weeks to heal. But I don't know. I mean, you twist the ankle in the first half. I mean, you have an issue there. I just would be loath to play that either way. I think Hurts is going to have one of these dynamic games. I do think that a lot of it's going to come with his legs. And I understand that he's been under on that 3 of the last 5 times. You go into a game plan here, and maybe Kansas City can say we're going to try to keep him in the pocket. Usually, when teams try to do that, it's not very effective anyway. You need a couple of runs to break. I would not say that I would be a strong play on this one either. Maybe play a 4 out of 10 to play it. But if I played it, I'd play it over. All right, what's the next category here?
Let's look at pass TDs.
All right, passing TDs, 1.5 for Hurts. I don't like when PrizePicks does the thing on the actual number. I much prefer the half because I don't like those pushes. It screws up with everything. But I guess they just can't be sure between the 1.5 and 2.5. You see Jalen Hurts at 1.5. He's only thrown passing touchdowns in 2 of his last 5. Well, I'm not even sure how to read that because he missed one of those games, did he not?
No, they have the
no, he didn't.
playoff games here, and then this is the last game of the regular season versus the Giants.
No, he did play. Okay, but he didn't play the whole way. 1.5 touchdowns. I'd go under.
I tend to agree with that.
Gets one with his legs. Mahomes, if Mahomes was 1.5, I'm going over. At 2, it feels like you likely throw it in there and it's a push. I mean, I would watch the number. I don't think, David, it's going to go down as his ankle gets better over the course of the week. If it goes to 2.5, I might play it under. I don't really feel comfortable with it at 2. What would you play with Mahomes and Hurts at 3.5?
I'd stay away from that, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think I would play that. I'd put a low likelihood. But then again, Mahomes could go off for 3 and Hurts gets 1. So I save my free square for Mahomes, so I'm pretty much like locked in to that, which I've got a surprise pick to go with that actually on a power play, which we'll get to in another show down the road.
Right.
But, it's just like you feel like Mahomes in the big game is going to at least get a couple. So I'm with you on the push. I would take him at the 2 touchdowns.
All right. What else do we have for them here? What else can we actually play?
Pass plus rushing yards.
All right. So let's take a look at that. Pass plus rushing yards here. Pass completions, pass attempts are up there too. Pass plus rushing yards. Jalen Hurts, 288.5. Now we said that the number is 245 plus a rushing, so it looks like it is a direct add there.
238, and then he had 46. Yeah.
If I was to play it either way, I'd go over because I do think that the rushing yards are going to be significant. I think they could be in the 70s, which would give me a little bit more cushion with the passing yard number than I'm not comfortable with. Mahomes at 309.5. I told you I think it's going to be a 300-yard passing game for him, but I don't think that the rushing yards are necessarily going to help it that much. So I would just play him as a pure pass play as opposed to playing him in combined. Would you play either of these guys combined?
No.
Okay. Let's take a look at pass attempts and pass completions here. I think that's the last place that we can look. Pass attempts for Jalen Hurts, 31.5. I'd play that over. I know he's gone under a couple times there recently, but I think he goes over on it. Maybe they run a little bit more of the short stuff just to get some guys involved and get him comfortable early in the game. Mahomes, 38.5. I played it over last week and won, but the number was lower. I think it was 36.5 last week. Now it's 38.5. That's a tough one, David. I don't know that I'd play it. If I played it, I'd probably play it over.
Yeah, I like the Hurts one better than the Mahomes one, but I'd steer clear of both of these personally.
So what we basically decided here, well, let's go to INTs, right? Or we got completions and INTs. We basically decided we don't like any of these quarterback props, right? Like
completion. Well, we like you like Hurts over running. We actually both like them to use their legs in this game, surprisingly.
right.
And I do like Hurts over 21.5 completions, though.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, he's got to get some short completions and hope for maybe a big play down the road. I think Kansas City's defense is going to give them some of the shorter stuff. So I like him. I like both of these completion numbers, actually.
Yeah, I love the Mahomes completion number. Of all the ones I've seen so far, I would play that. I think I would play over the 24.5. The Hurts completion number I like too. His numbers are a little misleading there when he's gone under. The game against San Francisco, they really didn't need to pass after the first half. Otherwise, he would have eclipsed the 15 that he had there easily. The Giant game too, they weren't pressed in that game either. That's why the number was lower. I expect him to have a higher completion number than that. Let's go to INTs. What do they do? They don't even have Hurts up there for INTs, which is interesting. Mahomes at half an INT, I would play it over, even though he doesn't throw many interceptions. You see there 4 of the last 5, he hasn't thrown one. Might stay away from it, but Philadelphia's defense does ball hawk.
Yeah, they have a good secondary, real good corners.
What do you think? You play it?
If I wasn't playing the free square, I would probably play this over too.
Okay, so there we are. But we are playing the free square. We're gonna hold you in suspense, everybody in suspense on that. Tomorrow we are going to get into the running backs. So we'll take a look at the running backs, their rushing attempts, yards, also receptions. We'll play into that. We'll take a look at all the stable of backs that may contribute in this game. Running backs can be a weird thing in Super Bowls. We've seen some Timmy Smiths emerge over the years. So we'll see if maybe there's a dark horse candidate that we like. Then we'll get to the receivers and tight ends together and play that. And then we'll kind of look at some of the other props that are on the board as we go forward, including the defense. So a bunch of new episodes coming up. Follow David at David W. Eversol. Make sure you use that code 5, FIVE. Another thing I would recommend is LeBron James is going for the scoring record. Might want to pair one of these with those. He's at LeBron tonight as we speak at 29.5 points against New Orleans. You know he's gunning for a record. He'll get 30 tonight. I think he's 66 points away. Probably wants to do it in 2 games. So that would be my recommendation tonight. Have a good day, everybody.